Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about vector and raster images and when you should use a vector image and when you should use a raster image. Now, let me see. Okay, vector is basically using mathematics like an x and y coordinate to draw its images. I guess it could be you could be making a vector font, you could be making a vector logo with shapes. And the great thing about vector is that it you can enlarge it to any size and it won't lose quality. Like you could make a vehicle wrap with vector. You can turn things into vector, and that's what t-shirt makers, they want the artwork in vector, so that way their screens can give you the best quality t-shirts. Vector is just a good way to do logos because it just very clean and it doesn't lose any quality. The only disadvantage with vector is that it's not really good for photorealistic or photo type logos, just because there's it just looks, it doesn't have all the different gradients and variations and stuff that raster has. I mean, you can have gradients in vector, but it seems to work well with just like shapes and solid colors and stuff like that. Now, raster is more photo based, and what it is it uses pixels to show the pic or art, a bunch of little tiny squares, but when they come together, they make an image. You know, the advantage of raster is it's compatible with you can do photorealistic stuff, and you can upload it to your web pages either as a PNG or a JPEG. PNG will give you a transparent background, whereas JPEG will be a solid white background. And so the disadvantages of raster is that if when you enlarge it too large, then you start to see the pixels. Even if you have it at a really high resolution, it's still gonna have, you zoom in on it and it's still gonna have the pixels. So basically, you got two different kinds of ways of going about doing your logos or your artwork, either vector or raster based. Now, the programs that use vector are CorelDRAW, Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, and those are just a few. Macromedia Freehand uses vector, and for raster programs it would be like Photoshop. There's another one, Paint, I believe, or there's a Photo Create, or I can't remember the other one, but most people use Photoshop for their for doing raster images. So I hope that answers your question on what's the difference between vector and raster. It's just basic. This is just a basic tutorial on that. Okay, now we're going to also talk about the color processes. Now you have CMYK, which uses cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Now that's the way that the copiers and printers print. Basically, they use those four colors in combination to make whatever that the artwork has printed. Your monitor, your RGB color processes are going to be red, green, blue. That's what RGB stands for. like CMYK would be CMYK, and that's cyan, magenta, yellow, black. But RGB would be is what your TVs, your smartphones, your Apple devices, your monitors all display everything in RGB. So no matter if it's in RGB, when you send your artwork to the printer, it's going to be converted to CMYK, and sometimes it can change the outlook of the color, the output of the color. So it's important when you're when artwork color is really critical, that you get a hard copy proof, or you talk to the printer or pre-press person and ask them how they can get what they prefer as far as artwork and resolution, and that should help you get closer to what you're seeing. And RGB is going to always look brighter. CMYK tends to dull out the stuff, so you have to sometimes adjust the levels or the brightness and stuff to get the exact color. And everybody's monitors are calibrated differently, so that can be an issue also if like I said, a color is critical for a certain logo color, or certain companies, they want it exact. And in that case, you can do what they call a spot color, where they pick out the spot color, and then you use the Pantone matching system to get to that same color every time. That's just a little bit more technical. Most people nowadays, it's just RGB and CMYK. But I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. It's just a basic tutorial on vector and raster, and the color process is RGB and CMYK. I will have a link posted down on YouTube to check out my website, and you can see some different logos that I have designed. Also, if you have any questions about just any questions about this tutorial, you can leave a comment below, and I'll try to get back to you on that. Well, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will have some future tutorials coming up on numbering and bleed and creep and crop marks and all that other print ready stuff. Okay, thank you. Bye.